Just Sawdust channel. Finally, it's time to transform our backyard shed into a workshop. But first, we've got to introduce our new family member. Meet Otis. We have adopted Otis from the Otis shelter, dog shelter. He has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Some of them are adopted and some of them are still available at the dog shelter in Otis, which is the closest shelter to our place, and that's why we took him in. He's going to be quite big. I mean, probably a bit bigger than Ella the dog we already have for 8 years. But he's a good playmate for Ella, and yeah, it all works fine now with little Otis in the house. The shed that's in the back of the garden, of the backyard, is big enough. It's almost the same size as the workshop I had before. The only problem is that there's a big beam very low, and I can't walk under it. I bump my head, so that big beam needs to go out, but it supports 2 other beams where the roof lies on. Now, the beams that are on top of those big beams, they are already supporting the roof. They're pretty strong, and I could even take the whole beams out, but I didn't want to. So I cut the beams so that they could be parallel to each other, and I had to cut off all the nails, of course, because I wanted to shift the beams head to head, and in the end, with some some tricks and some car jack and some clamps, that worked out. And it's a matter of putting it up a bit more than it actually is. So I jacked it up about 10 centimeters. You could see that on the outside of the roof. It had a bit of a bump, but just to put them together, and hopefully they won't come down too far to well, to bend. I mean, I think it will work out. We had to cut some temporary planks for it and screwed it on so that I could line them up. I had some steel plate left, and that we took with us from the old workshop because I thought I could use it maybe, and this was the right time to cut it up. So I made 2 long strips of 20 centimeters high and screwed those onto the beams. and I think it's holding up pretty well. I only screwed it yet, but of course I need to purchase some carriage bolts to even make it a bit stronger, but the steel doesn't bend at all. So I think this was a good solution to put the two beams together, to line them up and to connect them, and hopefully they will stay up. If not, then I have to come up with another solution, but I don't want to have like a pillar in the middle of the workshop like I had in the other workshop, because that just, well, makes it a bit difficult to move around, and you always have that beam in the middle that you have to work around, and it's better to well, to not have it. So I think this is the solution to solve this problem. Now, first I wanted to put a new roof on the shed, but we had storms, we had winds, we had really heavy rainfalls, and there is not a leak at all. So why change something that's already functioning? It doesn't look nice, so I'm going to try to do some work on it, make it a bit nicer, but we're going to leave the old roof on, and maybe we're going to put something on top on the outside in the future. But I like the style with the beams and the slats, so we're just going to keep that. And that's how it turned out. So I connected the beams, and I've got about 4 or 5 centimeters between this beam and that beam, so that's not supported at all anymore. The studs are gone, so I'm pretty confident I can take this beam out, and then I've got enough headroom in the whole workshop to walk around without bumping my head. About bumping my head, I've got a big scratch here underneath my hair, because when I finished grinding these steel plates, I came up and bumped my head against the steel, and of course it's very rough with all the little holes in it, so it has all sharp points. So yeah, that was a lot of blood to clean up, but in the end didn't need stitches. It's fine. Yeah, I've got a very clever wife, so Miriam taped it off with some duct tape, so to prevent me from hitting it again and damaging my head again. Not that there's much sawdust in there, so doesn't matter. But well, yeah, that's it for this video. So it's now a matter of doing the part of the workshop on that side, because this is completely full. I can't reach it anymore. This is 6 meters of workshop completely full with my stuff, and I've got about 3 meters on this side, so I'm going to do this 3 meters first, make some storage shelves and things like that, so I can move some stuff from here and sort things out, and then, well, do the rest. I'm going to put some extra pieces of wood at some spots in between the beams, but for the rest this is pretty strong, so and it's not leaking at all, so I'll leave this roof as it is. I'm just going to paint everything, make it nice, but I like the the reclaimed, the recycled style. I like the old stuff. So I don't need a really modern workshop with all the fancy cabinets and things like that. I've got old antique cabinets that are standing here too, which I'm going to use as shop cabinets. So that's it. See you in the next video. Uit de logo. Come on.